13th. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Billy. The first item on the agenda this evening is approval of regular meeting minutes from February 5th, 2024. There are no questions or concerns about the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton,
I'll second.
second by Gina, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is approval and ratification of bills. There are no questions about the bills. I entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved. Pay the bill.
Second by Clayton. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Since we've got some things in closed session to do, I want to go ahead and move us up on the hunting ban on city-owned property. Kevin's here. Talk about that. Just ask first if you guys had any thoughts on that. What we originally had planned to do is eliminate any hunting from city property. He's asked that he'd be allowed to hunt on some city properties. City Park, where crowds are gathered, he's agreed not to go there. I guess the question is, do we want to hold to just no hunting on city property? You want to allow him to do his thing with his bird, maybe at the nut park, property down here on the bypass or something like that, or, my biggest concern is, turn this on, the lawyer will have me. My biggest concern is I've had some requests, as I said earlier, for deer hunting and stuff like that in the city. Even though we don't necessarily have an ordinance on live gunfire, that's a little bit of a dangerous proposition to me, just because of the caliber of the rifles and stuff that they hunt with.
Right.
So questions, guys, answers, if y'all got any answers. Kevin?
One thing I was thinking about myself is, in this situation, Kevin is not hunting. The bird that he's got is hunting, which is a natural thing for this bird to do. He's not carrying a gun, he's not killing anything himself, but the other hunters that we're talking about would be the ones that's over there hunting themselves. But the bird, I mean, he can't control where it flies. I mean, it could start in one place and end up somewhere else. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then he also said that he wouldn't be hunting he wouldn't be taking the bird out unless it was cold weather.
Right.
Like below 32 degrees or so. So that sounded good. I mean, I don't have a problem with a natural animal hunting.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. Like he said, people's come up to him, it's educational
Yeah.
for people to see it in action.
And I would add to that, Kevin, just for my benefit and maybe the benefit of the people here at City Hall every day that get the calls and stuff, if you were going to be on city property for some reason with your bird, to let somebody down here know. If we, yeah, if we were to get a call or something like that, we'd know, what was going on. Lori, is that reasonable, you think?
That's reasonable. And I don't mind to give him my number and he can text me and I can pass it along to the girls that way.
Do the same with me.
Well, I mean, and thank you for doing that, but why don't you just give it to Wesley or Scotty? And then that way they can report to you.
Yeah.
I mean, one of you surely will answer the phone if you give him the numbers that way it won't have to take away from you what you do every day. Just do it. And I don't mean to interrupt. Personally, I don't care nothing about in the parks where they walk.
Yeah.
I have no problem at the landfill have no problem just at the net park if that's where it wants to be, or like you said, the bypass.
Yeah.
I think it's the city park that's what got people on the edge about.
I've never had anybody come up and never say anything to me.
Right.
Disgruntled, ever. I've only ever had.
No, they won't to you, but
No.
they'll call us.
They'll call us, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So I don't know how we can split that or do it.
We usually stay on, like, up there by the water park, down in that valley and that ravine and stuff. I mean, because there's no walking trails over there, but I get it.
Well, there is now.
Well, there's the one at the top, but once you drop down into that valley and get into that major wood line, you never see, you never be able to see anybody on it, but I get it.
Yeah.
But you couldn't control where the bird flew.
Mhm.
You could not control the bird flying from there into the park if you're in that location.
No, I mean, I can't control.
Right.
If I'm on private property, that where my bird flies, if it flies on the city ground at that point either.
Right.
All you can do is start blowing a whistle and holding a fist up and they, or pull your lure out and they come back. I mean, some, you don't even have to cross property lines sometimes.
And I did have a question too from your previous presentation. You said
If
that.
you, excuse me,
I'm sorry.
if you would, Kevin, come up and speak in the microphone.
Sorry, Kevin.
That way,
You said at your previous presentation that the size of bird is what you have, but there are people in other places that have larger birds.
Yeah, those are all out west, like big areas, and that's a state, you have to get major federal approval before you can get big birds, and I don't even think Kentucky approves eagles right now. So, I mean, there's nobody here that has large raptors like that.
Okay, because that was a concern of mine, is how do you monitor what size birds, who's bringing them in? who's
No,
doing
I
what?
mean, anybody that's local is from kestrels to red tails. I mean, saying kestrel's that big and a red tail's gonna be like, I mean, what you see on the power poles. So,
anybody else got a question for?
I have a question about, you're mentioning, or you've mentioned the bypass. Where,
The 16 acres that the hotel was supposed to be on. It's not,
eventually, that will possibly
Yeah.
be developed,
yeah,
well,
and more development after that point.
yeah.
So then what?
You know, I don't, outside of the Nut Park and a couple other places that the city owns, I don't know of any place really suitable. city
I mean,
property.
it happens everywhere. People, every year, falconers lose this 5 or 6 acres on the outskirts of town because a factory went up or they put a parking lot in. And I mean, you just fluctuate and go with the flow. I mean, we understand we lose stuff all the time.
I mean, the Nut Park, that to me sounds like a good location.
Yeah,
Have you been to that
Yeah,
one?
and they're down there doing construction right now, so, I mean, I don't know what they're doing down there with it anyway. They're breaking ground with big equipment down there, so.
getting ready to build a building out there, I think, for,
The old landfill over here, have you used it?
I'm not sure where that's at. I only know the one
just
landfill.
across the street, back over here, over the ridge here.
Oh,
just basically.
no, okay, so the dump.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
But
I
to the
didn't know.
left side of the dump.
Yeah,
back
it
over
used
the
to
hill.
be,
Yeah, see, I didn't know if we could go there because it's all fenced off. I mean,
See, there's several acres down through there.
and that was one place
Just
that I
wilderness.
brought up, but, I mean, that's one of those, it's city-owned, but it's.
Right,
You'd have
right.
to go in and explain, like, we're not gonna be buying any of your stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it's reclaimed property there, so, you know, that would make a decent
it
place.
would be on the way too.
Yeah,
okay, and there's a way to get in that, go in the fence and,
I think isn't there a gate down White Street, Wes? Yeah. If you just go straight across the red light here and turn left on White Street, you'll see a gate. It's all the city properties on the right.
okay.
I have had a couple of calls since we talked last, since it was in the news and everything, of people that were opposed to you hunting in the park, you know.
Okay.
And obviously, people probably that hadn't seen you down there, but they read it in the paper, you know, or a radio once, so. So personally, I don't have that big an issue, and one of the reasons I would like for you to call, if you go on city property, it will give us some heads up if somebody were to call and say somebody's hunting out here or something, that we know it's not somebody with a deer rifle or something like that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Most people probably wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
No, and that's the thing is, I mean,
Yeah.
we're just out there wandering around aimlessly through the woods, and I mean, people just happen to see a bird following somebody, I mean,
yeah.
so.
As long as it don't get their chihuahua.
I mean, I hunt with
Or their cat.
8-pound miniature wiener dogs. I mean, my dogs are this big that I use with them, so.
And I saw video of that, so they are. He has small dogs that were sitting beside the hawk, you know, enjoying supper, so.
How many falconers are there, like in Grayson County?
Oh. 3 of us active. There's a couple others, but I've never personally met them, and I'm not sure if they're active. But probably, including them, 7 or 8 of us, maybe.
Can you do it on the lakes or the rivers? I mean, can you walk the banks or
Yeah.
you can't get on the red line?
You can, I mean, you run into the problem is, it's great if you're hunting here, but when your bird wants to hunt over there, and you got the river in between
Cross
you, I
river.
mean, sometimes if it's shallow enough, yeah, I mean, and, I mean, there are people that hunt down there, I mean, it's just, the bird flies across the water on you, and
I'm kind of like Terry. I don't think we need to be maybe hunting on the bypass. Not, what's going to happen is the bird gets away and run over by a truck or something flying
Okay.
in. City gave him permission to be there. I think the Nut Park and the landfill would be the areas that are going to consider letting him hunt those 2 areas.
Arlene, is it a problem just to dedicate them 2 places for
No, I'll
falcon hunting?
no, I can just make those changes in the ordinance.
I mean, if there is a problem, we'll change it.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
is there a way, I mean, is that gate unlocked up there, or how, is that like something you gotta like sneak through or climb over or
No.
something?
You'll just have to go look at it. I mean,
Yeah.
one of us will take you down there or something. And
Wes said it's not locked, and
Okay.
if you drop by here, or Public Works across the street here on the hill, either one, sometime, anybody can take you and show it to you or whatever.
Okay.
You drop by here, I can run you over there, or,
All right, that'll work.
I don't know of any other property we own west that would be suitable for anything, really. Any sizable property.
One more question. So how long have you been hunting the park?
4 seasons, so 4 years.
Okay.
Like I've said, I've never, not one time, had anybody ever even come up and, I mean, they come up and ask you what you're doing, but then they're
Right.
like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing. And then they want pictures and photos and ask hundreds of questions. And I mean, it's always been good.
So,
Yeah, and
heard
then,
about it
And
before.
probably 50 or 60 people, I mean, over the time of being up there,
Right.
have come up and wandered around and watched, and so.
yeah, I've never heard about it until you come down here wanting it.
Right. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as soon as I saw where it was all city grounds, I was like, oh, man, I gotta go say something.
yeah. Okay.
Because, I mean, it's, one of the birds is caught from right over here behind Captain D's, so I mean, and they hunt within like a 5-mile radius of where, I mean, so.
Yeah.
Somebody may see that red tail eventually at the park, I mean, when it's released back into the wild, I mean,
Yeah. I saw one just the other day flying across Wallace here when I was on my way down here, so pretty good sized red tail, so.
'cause I
They're
mean,
out there.
Because I was gonna get a bird from the park that's down at where the airplane is. By the time I got the permission and stuff, and they were gone already from the nest, so I missed out this last year. So,
Do you want to designate an area or you want to
What,
do something different?
Erling, what do you think would be most advantageous for us and him both? Designate the
You
2
can
areas, or?
You can designate an area, you can do it by ordinance, that way it's black and white, that's what you designate.
Okay.
Now, these city places, since they're more kind of off the beaten trail, do we have to abide by like the 30-degree and under? Because, I mean, there's other times like it's getting in the 50s and we're still flying our birds I mean, if that's not around people walking on walking trails and stuff, are we good to fly when we want to go fly, or is this still we gotta cut it at 30 degrees?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with
I don't
you,
have a problem with
50
that.
degrees.
I wanted to make sure I clarified that now, because I heard you
Are
guys
you gonna be
talking
flying
about-
them at 80 degrees?
No, see, that's the thing, is our season only starts
Right.
in September and goes till the end of March. But
Got you.
nobody starts really flying until the frost starts and it gets cold.
Sure.
And plus, that people that are catching new birds takes a month and a half to get that bird completely trained down, so you're already into October, November, when it's getting cold anyways. And then the off-season, I mean, from April 1st all the way till September again, that's the off-season for the birds. They don't get flown. I mean, maybe on a creance at home just to keep them exercised, but you don't fly them on squirrels or anything, or any game in the off-season.
Okay. I'm good with it if Earlene wants to work on something like that. Kevin, you can.
You need a motion?
Go ahead and make a motion.
Make a motion to draft the ordinance for, is it called falcon flying? Is it
Just falconry.
Falconry, to draft an ordinance. Let Earlene draft an ordinance. I'll make that motion.
Can you state the specific areas?
I would say the old landfill and the nut park at
I'll
about
second it.
259.
I
Do we-
second Billy's motion.
Do we want to go ahead and include when he said the season is?
Right now, I don't care either one, in them spots any, but,
Okay.
because they're
Because, I
not.
mean, we can technically fly all year.
Okay.
But for us as the human, to take possession of what our birds have captured, it has to be through hunting season. If you're flying out of season, your bird catches something, your bird eats up what it wants, the rest has to stay. Well, that's a waste. So there's no reason to fly out of season when you can feed your own bird out of season, so I mean,
Okay.
Can you clarify which landfill, because we own the one in Millwood as well?
Now, this one on
We're just gonna-
White Street.
White Street.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure.
Okay. And just stay in touch with me here in a couple of weeks. You think, Earlene, she'll get that drawn up?
Yes, I can have it on for the next meeting. I
Okay.
don't think we vote.
I know-
Yes. All in favor? I didn't ask all in favor.
Aye.
Billy made the motion, Clayton seconded the motion, so.
can we fly to there? Are we able to fly those two places now, or do we need to wait until it's all black and white and?
I'd say go ahead, wouldn't you, Earlene? Yeah. I don't think it'll be a big deal, so.
And Kevin, just to clarify, the nut park, you know that's not the one where they're doing the construction at, it's where you turn into the road, because that property's no longer ours.
The 80 acres is back there.
Yeah, that's not ours anymore.
No,
It's
it's not our
been bought.
property.
I mean. all
Just
the
when you
maps
turn
and
in on the left's the
On the
nut
left
park.
is the nut park.
Got small trees sitting around it.
Oh, I've never, that's,
I don't know it'd be beneficial to you. This over here would be more beneficial.
yeah, I was, we've been flying there at the end because it says, all the maps with the PVA and everything said city
Yeah,
property.
It just
so-
recently sold.
Because it
so
says
that's
city
not-
property
probably
on
not
both sides of the
updated.
road, so.
Yeah, that's sold to industry, so the people that are building out there actually own it.
Oh,
Uh, There is another gentleman out there that hasn't started construction yet. I could get you in touch with him. He owns about 25 acres there, real close to that building that's going up. He might be open to letting you hunt there too, so
Okay, yeah, that'll be all right.
just stay in touch with me. I'll try
will.
to help you around here with some private property maybe too, so,
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
all right.
'Cause, yeah, I didn't know I didn't realize that's what that little open field, I didn't know that's what you guys are talking about,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so, any other questions?
Good,
Thank you, man.
Good to go.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion this time to go into executive session.
I make a motion.
I'll make a second.
Second by Gina, all in favor?
Aye.
And that's for KRS 618101F for discussion of appointment.
I'll entertain a motion to come back into regular session.
I make a motion.
I second.
Second by Tootie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll go ahead with visitors at this time. Are there any visitors that, in the audience that would like to address the council? Okay,
Mayor, just to give a short,
yes.
just to give a short recap from the executive session, we actually conducted 3 interviews for potential Board of Adjustment appointees. There's a vacancy that's going to be on that board, and there's not going to be any vote tonight. The interviews are going to be considered, and then the vote's going to be taken at the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Early. Okay, moving on to the agenda, second and final reading of an amended ordinance relating to probationary period for police officers. You have that, Earlene?
Yes, I will read that. Whereas the city of Leitchfield currently has an ordinance which sets forth a probationary period for incoming hires, and whereas in order to have more oversight of new hires of police officers within the Leitchfield Police Department by allowing additional time for training and insight into job performance, the existing ordinance shall be amended. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance minute number 10, page number 125-A, passed on the 15th day of September 1975, is hereby amended as follows, with deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them and encompassed by brackets enclosing them, with added portions being underlined. All original appointments shall be for a probational period of slashing out 6 months and adding 1 year from the completion of the Department of Criminal Justice training, or 1 year from the date of hire if already certified. Continuation in service shall be dependent upon the conduct of the appointee and marking out his, the officer's fitness for the performance of the duties to which marking out he, the officer, is assigned, is indicated by the quality of marking out his and replacing the officer's work, and the reports and recommendations of marking out his, the officer's superior officers. If during the said marking out 6 months probationary time period, the appointee proves unfit, he, marking out and replacing with the officer, will be dismissed from the service by the mayor, and ending period and marking out, and shall not be entitled to appeal such dismissal. And this is the second reading, so there would need to be a motion second and then a roll call vote.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the reading.
I make a motion that we accept the reading that Earlene just gave us.
Okay, second by Tootie. Denny?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. Planning and zoning recommendation on RZ-24-126, 176 Westlake Drive from R2, single family medium density to C1 highway commercial. Tyler?
So at our last meeting, we had a hearing for a zone change from residential to commercial. This is for 176 Westlake Drive. The zoning application is attached here too and incorporated herein by reference. The public hearing was held on Monday, February 12th, 2024. The application was presented and the Planning Commission discussed the matter in detail and found that the request for the zoning map amendment should be granted. The Planning Commission noted that there have been major changes to the surrounding area by virtue of the new bypass and surrounding commercial development, and now the area is becoming more commercial in nature and the proper zoning should be highway commercial. The Planning Commission unanimously approved the rezoning request and recommends and requests that the Leitchfield City Council approve the recommendation to change its zoning classification.
Okay. Do you want to have any questions of Tyler about this change? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept it.
I do want to make a note first that this is 2 tracts of land. One tract is not large enough to be considered commercial, so this zone change is contingent upon the owner doing a combination plat, combining those two tracks into one, if it's voted to change it.
Okay.
Gina made the motion.
Gina made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next up, planning and zoning recommendation for text amendments to
He's got to
section.
do the first reading of the ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Somebody
I'm
does.
sorry.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from R-2, single family, medium density to C-1 highway commercial. Whereas the Leitchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on February 12, 2024 held a public hearing on application number RZ-24-126. The property is currently owned by Aubrey Beatty and is designated as a property having a PVA number 084-07-00-038, being more particularly described in Deed Book 527, page 468, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 176 West Lake Drive, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from R-2, single family, medium density to C-1 highway commercial. And whereas the city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference. And now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows: boundaries of the district as shown on district map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky, being same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof as fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated February 12, 2024 to the Litchfield City Council. So the property is described as follows. Property description, refer to property description PVA number 084-00-07-038, Deed Book 527, page 468, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 176 West Lake Drive, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754, now zoned C-1 highway commercial after the adoption of this ordinance.
Okay. We need to go ahead and make a motion and a second for that? or
No,
can
we don't have to do
okay.
anything
No.
tonight
First
since it's
reading.
first reading.
Okay. All right. Planning and zoning recommendation for text amendments to section 2.11 of the zoning ordinance.
So this is the zoning ordinance that was discussed several months ago, I think back in September, October timeframe. So this is regarding the building height. Maximum was at 2 stories or 34 feet in all zones except the industrial. And we had a public hearing, and the planning commission voted to increase the building height in the central business district and the commercial and the industrial zones to 84 feet. So that's what the zone change, or not the zone change, but the text amendment would be for. So all industrial zones, commercial and central business would be increased to 84 feet.
Okay. Any questions for Tyler concerning this?
Tell me again, who's that under? Commercial,
So it'll be
Residential.
central business, commercial, and industrial. So your central business district is basically around the square and probably extends about 2 city blocks beyond the square. We've still got some central business about that far out. And then any commercial zone with the highway commercial districts, and then our industrial.
so your industrial went from no
Then-
ordinance to,
No, the industrial was 70 feet before, and
70.
now it's increased to 84 feet. And your central business and highway commercial was 34 feet, and it would be going up to 84 as well. Well,
what's the
like your
top?
commercial zone is over here on the bypass, the property that the city owns.
What's the tallest structure we have? Bailey lumber?
Probably Parkland Manor.
I don't know about industrial as far as their smokestack. You're talking about anything over 84 feet, right?
This would be building height. I don't know that a tower,
I mean, connected to the building, it wouldn't be considered building?
when you're talking about a tower, that's a little bit different.
I don't think it
There's a separate section in KRS regarding towers. I'd have to look and see, like, at the dust collector at Bailey is what you're talking about.
Yeah, I
That's
just don't,
probably-
I don't want an industry coming in here with 90, it needs to build a 90-foot structure and they'll say, no,
Yeah.
we
Well,
can't.
we've got to be, we talked to Timmy about this
Right.
too. And what can we comfortably serve with our fire equipment?
Right.
And so this was the number that he come up with for us, that they were comfortable with what equipment we have.
Tyler, how many stories is that? If my math's right, is that
Uh,
like 5 stories or so?
6, you can
6?
fit 6 stories in that, and we didn't want to put it to a story because, you know, depending on ceiling height, you could still have an 84-foot structure and it not be 6 stories, so we didn't put that verbiage in there. We just did 84 feet to maximum building height.
Any other questions? Tyler? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendations.
I'll make the motion and accept the recommendation from the planning commission.
Second by Clayton, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So we'll have some, yeah. So we'll have the ordinance next meeting.
Have a reading.
Yep.
Okay, next up is first reading of an ordinance for closing the public way known as Penner Drive. Earlene, do you have that?
Yes.
I think this is paperwork type thing. Okay. I think we've already, first reading of,
Whereas the city of Leitchfield, hereinafter referred to as city, has the duty to open and maintain certain public ways within the city limits, and whereas it is in the best interest of the city to only open and maintain those public ways which serve the interest of the public, and whereas each and every property owner in and abutting the city of Litchfield Old Public Way known as Old Penner Drive, a description of said property is attached and marked as attachment A, has been identified and has signed a notarized waiver and agreement to the closure of said public way. Said waivers are hereby attached and marked as attachment B. And whereas all the requirements of KRS Section 82.405 have been complied with, and whereas it is desirable and in the best interest of the city to enter an ordinance closing said public way, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky that the old public way of Old Penner Drive, a description of said public way is attached to this ordinance and marked attachment A is hereby closed to the public and shall no longer appear on the city of Litchfield's maintenance schedule. This is only a first reading, so we would vote on this and adopt it if approved at the next meeting.
March meeting? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Earlene. Cody, do you have any questions with that or anything?
Just your answer if there's any questions about it.
Okay. Is he gonna have any questions for Cody? I think we've addressed things, so, okay. All right, thank you. Code enforcement amended ordinance for condemned property.
We don't have an update at this time.
Okay. Ordinance 39.01, removing the wording Assistant Chief of Police and leave the wording and such other members.
I think after talking with Earlene and Chief Riley this morning, she has an ordinance drafted, but I think they're wanting to put some more verbiage in there, am I correct? Or maybe review it and,
Yeah, we want to review it and look at some policy, a little more policy.
Okay. Next up is billing insert for updated information for utility billing. Lori, have you got?
yes, I know at the last meeting, we talked about not putting the insert in, and doing some stuff with the app once we got the app going. But just to let you all know, they had already printed off hundreds and hundreds of those, inserts, so we did insert those into the billing that was done. I think we are getting some response back, but just wanted to let you all know that that insert did go out.
Okay. All right. New business, approval for Mayor Miller to execute a 3-year contract with Comcast for installation of a dedicated fiber line for City Hall and also for the police department. Lori and Chief Riley and I discussed this earlier or last week, and I think it'd be a positive move for City Hall.
Yeah, we've had, 2 or 3 meetings with Jason to go over
Yes.
everything, and I think after Jason talking, which Jason is from Comcast, after him talking with the IT people that handle City Hall and Kevin Butler that is actually helping the PD right now, they both think it is in our best interest. As for the PD, they talked about the download of the cameras. It would help there. And as far as City Hall, we have so much data on our server that gets backed up. It will be a tremendous help to us.
Yeah. And it'll greatly improve. And someone asked earlier about why fiber was installed when we remodeled and everything. I'm guessing, it's just a guess, but I'm guessing it probably wasn't as readily available at the time as it is now.
Yeah, that's right.
And it may have been cost prohibitive back then.
Yeah, the cost, once it was available to us, was astronomical
Yeah.
compared to what he has quoted it to us for, so.
Yeah, it was surprisingly reasonable when we got down to talking numbers, so.
We're hoping, if we're able to go ahead and get him to execute this contract, we're hoping to have it in for June, so it's not really gonna affect this budget, but it will, we'll have to up next year's budget and, the following years, for the 3 years to compensate there, but it really won't affect this year's budget.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to allow me to execute that contract.
I make a
by
motion.
Clayton,
Second.
second by Billy, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Surplus property for the police department. David?
The first one is a 2014 Dodge Charger Pursuit. It's got 96,856 miles on it. This developed an engine off, and I took it over to the shop. Chris looked at it, said the repair for that would be very costly. This is one of them that we would be looking at to surplus anyway, because when the new cars come in, this is going to be one of the first ones that we would be getting rid of anyway. I would just request permission to put that on gov deals and see if we can get it going. And the second one was actually a forfeiture to the police department. It's a 2002 Jeep Cherokee. It's non-running, and probably the only thing to be utilized for would be for a parts vehicle maybe, something like that. And I was requesting permission to put that on gov deals to get rid of it also.
Anyone have any questions of David concerning that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to allow him to.
I make a motion that we allow him to put those 2 items on gov deal.
Okay, motion by Clayton,
I second.
second by Tootie, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey, David, when are they gonna quit making chargers?
This is the last year. We're getting the last of our 3 that we've got coming in. That's been delayed due to the cages.
Right?
But I was told they're in, so we should be getting them shortly. This is the last of the Chargers. Next year, it looks like I actually asked the salesman at Freedom Dodge, and he doesn't even have a idea of what the new Cruiser that they're coming out with. They haven't even got a prototype picture of it or anything.
So do they have one they think they're gonna build?
They do. Dodge is gonna have another Pursuit Cruiser, but they have no idea what it is. He said it would probably be in 2025.
So does Ford have a Cruiser? Chevrolet has a Tahoe, don't they, or what they're doing with theirs?
What's that?
Don't Chevrolet have a Tahoe?
They do. Dodge has got the Durango, and they also have the truck.
Ford's got the Explorer, isn't it? Ford's using Explorers, isn't it?
They are. They're using Explorers. Actually, I was told this weekend that KSP is gonna do away with their Tahoes, and they're gonna start using the Durangos is what I was told, so I don't know. But I was for the budget committee and for the upcoming budget, I was gonna get, pricing on several of the different vehicles from Ford
Good.
and from Dodge and where it should be. I'll get a Tahoe just to see where we're at.
Okay. Thanks, David. New business, Billy, you have any
No,
new
sir.
business? Terry,
No.
do you?
No, sir.
Clayton?
One thing, David and Earlene, I'm getting some complaints on Brandenburg Road coming from those apartments there up on the end at the top. There's a gentleman over there, and I know it's daytime, but they are people all down through there. This gentleman keeps turning his radio, his boom box up, especially when it's warmer weather, and it just jars everybody down through there. And there've been a couple of families went to him and asked him to please turn it down, and he's he almost got physical with one of the families, and so they just backed off and left, and I got a couple of calls on that.
Do you know
What,
the apartment number?
it would be 3D?
So have you already told David about this?
No, I understand that you all have been out there 2 or 3 times on him on other things,
Oh, okay, I'll check and see. I'll find out what the name is and check and see.
okay?
And this is during the day?
I can give you a name when we're done.
Okay. This is the apartments by the old junior food, right?
Right, it's a top bunch of apartments. Like if you turn and go between that little house and the apartments and go up through there, it would be 3D.
Hillview. Hillview.
Anything else, Clayton?
No, that's all.
Gina?
Quick question about the Comcast. That was in the budget, there's no amendment or anything that needs to be done with
No,
that?
because it's only gonna hit June of this year,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay.
only, like, on the PD side, theirs is gonna be about $276 more, plus a few taxes, and ours is only gonna be like 287, so it's
Okay.
just gonna be 1 month. Now, we'll have to incorporate it into next year's
Next
budget.
year's
Okay,
budget, yeah.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Denny?
The beautification committee handed out the proposals for some beautification awards, something to consider for next meeting, just to look at. And the other thing is, I had a citizen that called me to tell me that about streetlights being out, and apparently KU has a deal where you can contact them directly. Have an app where you can contact them, so maybe we can get that information and put it out for us, so citizens can, if they see a streetlight out, they can call us, but they can also call KU directly.
And that may be something we can incorporate into the app that the city's gonna pick
That's what
up
I was
too.
just thinking too, yeah.
Report something like that, so. I think the further we go, the more uses we'll see that will benefit us from. So. Lori, you got any new business?
Nope.
Earlene?
No.
Wes? David?
No, sir.
Tyler? I think I failed to ask everybody about unfinished business. Does anyone have any unfinished business that they want to talk about?
It's probably new. David, could you move your speed trailer to somewhere different?
We actually need to bring it in and charge it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been over for about a month or so, and it's been dead, and the neighbors are just wondering why it's there if it's dead.
We've actually talked about moving it today. 'Cause it's been
That's
over
all.
for a while, plus it needs charging anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other unfinished business from anyone? Okay. Other reminder, there will be a Budget and Finance Committee meeting on March 4th at 5 PM. We also want to do the Parks and Rec meeting that got canceled today at 4 that day, if it's okay with everyone. Next chamber luncheon is March 14th at noon, and please let Lori know no later than noon on Monday, March 11th, if you plan to attend. So with that, unless there's anything new for anybody, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion by Clayton,
Second.
second by Terry, all in favor?
Aye.